So you may, yes. Okay, there we go. And we're
So,
back.
from what I understand, you all have talked more about an EDW. Is that
Mm,
correct?
yes.
So
Yes,
when
Jude.
I was talking to Lee, he said that you all have $10 million set aside in a budget specifically for that EDW.
Okay. Yeah.
And also that Lynn Hudson is now acting as the CIO and is concerned with making bad technology decisions. Do you know anything more about that?
Yeah. sh- since she is the, I guess, CFO,
Yes.
but now she's having to take on that role of the CIO.
Yeah.
Her expertise, her strong suit really is finance. And that would be why she was kind of reluctant to make these sort of technological decisions.
Yeah.
Um, but they are pretty important. So yeah, so we're needing to figure that out.
All right, yeah, perfect. Those were kind of just the things that I've learned through different meetings that I wanted to run by you.
Mhm.
Um, so, kind of what we were talking about the mailing, but specifically for customer churn. How have you all handled the customer churn issue? Because that seems like a bigger priority for you all right now.
Yeah. Well, with with uh, the merger and everything, we're wanting to access a lot of the data, so we know that the numbers, we've got the numbers,
Yeah.
um, but trying to work with IT on this to actually get that information to us
Uh-huh.
has been, I don't want to say unsuccessful, but it has been a challenge. And because they are certainly dealing with their end of merger related stuff, and you can imagine what a monumental headache that would be.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So, do you think that obstacle is due to not knowing what technology to invest in?
Well, we're we're trying to figure out. We know that an EDW would be beneficial.
Yeah.
We know that that would help us out, both as a company, but also our department.
Yeah.
Um, so we're just trying to figure out the best route, and then gather proposals, and I guess propose what would be the best option, since Lynn doesn't feel as qualified to just make an executive decision
Yeah.
per level. So that's what we're working toward.
Yeah.
But some things that we're trying to nail down is whether or not this is the right time to invest in this kind of technology. Because of the merger, obviously we know that there are issues that we need to address. But with everything else going on, it's kind of one of those things where, okay, what first? Do we deal with this in the middle of the merger, or do we wait? So we're trying to figure out whether the timing's right.
Yeah.
Um, like I said before, we're looking for different proposals. We're trying to figure out what vendor would be a best fit for us as a company,
Hmm.
and obviously the price point has to be right.
Yeah.
So evidently you've been given a number, but we're really looking for, I guess, that sweet spot, really something that works well for both companies involved.
Yeah. So obviously, this is a big struggle for you all trying to figure out what technology to invest in and different things such as the mailing information and the clear customer information. So, what would it look like for you in your day to day, or as Sprint as a company, if it had clear customer information um, available?
Well, that would be great.
Yeah.
Because like I said, we know that we have the data,
Yeah.
um, but we our department doesn't have direct access to it, so we have to go through IT. Um, that um, they haven't been able to decide how to handle it, or what kind of solution would be best. And so that's, I guess, why we're now more involved with our department.
Yeah, and kind of the same thing with the better technologies to invest in and how to invest in those technologies. What would it look like for you if you had a better way of doing that?
Well, I think there would be fewer headaches, and I'd probably be able to sleep a little better, along with some of the other members of my team.
Oh, there you
Uh,
go. Yeah.
yeah, so we definitely see the benefits of finding a solution.
Yeah. So obviously this process is costing you all a lot of assets. Um, so would you see it beneficial if you could save that time, money, and labor that you're using now? And what would you do with it?
Um, well, I think I'm sorry, having to something just came in.
Oh no, you're
Um, could you rephrase that question again?
Yeah, so these types of decisions are costing you all time, money, and labor, which are extremely valuable assets for any company, but especially with you all right now. So if you could save that time, money, and labor, what would you do with it? Would you work on things like the mailing that have kind of been put on the back burner?
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
if these resources, um, where would they be reallocated? Okay, gotcha. Um, so um, I think that right now the merger is really the big thing. Like I said, if we with this customer churn initiative, we have a whole slew of people that are working on that we really need them doing other things. We've got a lot to figure out with T-Mobile, and how this is all going to work, and how to actually bring these two companies together and provide the customer with I guess, a better experience than hopefully than any of our competitors
yeah,
in the midst of um, transforming two different companies into something completely different. So freeing up the personnel, I think, is a big thing for sure. And obviously, we would like to spend our money elsewhere.
yeah.
And we've got plenty of things that we can do, that if we're able to trim the fat on these print initiatives and redirect that funding towards, I guess, better marketing, especially with the merger, because once that if that goes through, there's going to be plenty of marketing initiatives and awareness campaigns that we're going to be running um, after that goes through. So yeah, free up these funds, these resources, personnel and financial, is definitely a big concern for us.
Yeah. So if I could tell you that Gartner could save you that time, money, and labor that you're spending on trying to figure out what technologies to invest in, would you be interested in hearing more about Gartner?
I certainly would.
Yeah. Have you ever worked with Gartner or had any Gartner experience in previous
um,
jobs?
I honestly, I've heard of you guys,
Yeah.
but I've never worked directly with you guys.
Yeah.
And yeah, heard of, and I've heard of your Madrick quadrant,
Oh yeah.
but that's about it. So not so name awareness, but not a lot of familiarity.
Oh yeah. No, I definitely understand. That's very common. But so, kind of from a high level view, Gartner is a software program that helps you research and contrast different technologies so that you know what's best for your company in that specific time. So, I actually have a slideshow presentation if you wouldn't mind me showing that. Let me
Okay.
see if I can get this rolling here. So you should be able to see my screen right now if
Yep.
technology works like it says it should.
Right. Yeah.
All right, so let me put this in presentation mode and
Hopefully, this is the right technology for you in this moment.
exactly. I think PowerPoint is pretty universal. There's really three different parts of the Gartner for CIOs, and that's the learn from the research section, cost optimization, and the executive partner for the CIOs. So the research allows you to search different technologies to invest in, and helps you make decisions that way. And also, if you can see down here, it gives you access, including tools to help you optimize those, like kind of what you were saying earlier about selecting the right vendor for you.
Mm-hmm.
Another one is the cost optimization tool, which allows you to compare your costs with things like the IT budget tool, which allows you to compare, like it says right here, the IT key metrics, against organizations. And with this contract review alone, kind of comparing the different contracts, 3 out of 4 people can save anywhere from 15 to 20%, which is huge just for that specific part of Gartner for CIOs. And the last one is pretty unique. It is you are given an executive partner that the CIO can meet with, which Lynn would probably appreciate because she's more of a CFO at heart.
Can't speak for her, but that does sound like a benefit.
Yeah. And so they have monthly interactions, emails, and what's listed here is just the bare minimum. Many of our executive partners go above and beyond what's listed here. So kind of going,
okay.
Let's see.
So that would be one-on-one interaction, direct access to
yes
to them. Okay.
Yes, that's probably the most consulting thing that Gartner has for
sure.
us. See if I can get this slide. There we go. So this is what our research articles look like. They're kind of like search engines, but for different IT products. These help you kind of understand the different elements of these technologies. And kind of a common objection that I have got in my years of selling Gartner is that this is pretty much does what Google can do.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that. I was like, okay, so this is a search engine, right?
Yes,
okay.
It is a search engine, but if you look right here, it's only 26,000 results. And I've talked to a couple different people in your company, and it seems like you all are using search engines like Google to make these decisions right now. Is that correct?
Yeah, there are a number of individuals in this organization that believe that everything is at their fingertips with Google.
Yeah. And so unfortunately, that's Google has different biases and doesn't provide you with reliable information. So that's why Gartner is here for that. And it narrows down your what you can see and makes the decision-making process have a lot less headaches, like you were saying earlier.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense to me, and that, like I said, it makes sense to me. There may be some other individuals that need a little bit more convincing, but hopefully your product can speak for itself.
Yeah, and so the next one actually is the Magic Quadrant, which you have said that you know a little bit about. So this helps you to develop.
So this is all the magic you talk about.
Yes, this is the magic. And so this helps you kind of narrow down your short list because with these vendors, they have 2 main initiatives to have a vision and to execute that vision. So the quadrant that you are going to look at is the top right up here. These are the ones, like I was saying, to develop your short list, to take all these different companies and say, okay, what are the select few that can execute what I need to execute, but be innovative at the same time. Does that make any sense, or did you kind of know that beforehand?
So this is pretty much who you work with, the resources that you're able to direct us towards.
Yes. So not necessarily work with, but these are companies that are out in the marketplace that people are investing in and using their technologies in. So these change from time to time, as you're probably well aware. This changes over time as well.
Sure. Sure.
Does that clarify?
Okay. Yeah. I was just scanning, and obviously you're not on here. So
Oh yeah, we don't put ourselves on here. These are our vendors for.
right. That's what I was meaning by
Oh, okay.
people that you work with, not necessarily these are resources that you direct in
Yeah,
companies for.
these are companies that we can direct you towards.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
That is what I was clarifying. Sorry if that didn't
No,
make
that's
sense.
okay. That is definitely okay. So the next one is the critical capabilities, and these rank different companies based on your criteria that you filter in, and it helps you choose a technology partner. So you can put in different filters, and it'll spit out different results for that. Would this be something that you could see using?
Yeah, for sure.
And these are just to
Yeah.
kind of show you what it would actually look like when you get the login and put them in as well. And
Okay.
so here's something that I always like to talk about. It's this is called our hype cycle. So technology has definitely risks in investing, as I'm sure you're well aware of. But this allows you to assess your risk and what technologies to invest in by kind of this chart. And you can either be a more risky, a more early mover, as some companies like to be, or you can wait until the technology matures and gets kind of into this range. I'm not sure if you can see my mouse moving.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you can see if you want to be in this range or if you want to be up top with the earlier movers as well. And the next one, if you don't have any questions about that,
No, that's
is
fine.
the contract review, and I've kind of gone over this with Lee, and he likes this a lot. And it makes sure that you are at the right price with the best terms. So, kind of comparing, like for an EDW, if you're comparing Oracle and Teradata, it'll show the contracts side by side and show you which one can provide you more value with those
Okay.
specific things.
Okay. So you can visualize like comparison view, like um, I'm trying to think like often I with marketing I do a lot of purchasing, but there are plenty of things that I can put in my shopping cart and then to compare the two items. So this is basically that. So
Yes.
you can compare the contracts this way. Okay, yeah, that's very valuable.
Yeah, this is something that actually a lot of people in your company, like I said, Lee, for
Mhm.
example,
Yeah,
has seen value. Excuse me, has seen value in as well.
sure.
And the next one is something that Lee likes a lot. It is the IT budget, and so you can see
Yeah.
your different competitors and how your IT budget compares with them to see if you are spending too much on IT, which is never the case. It seems like,
No.
but where you can spend more money specifically, and these are listed by category as well. Could you see
Okay.
how that would be beneficial for Sprint to use?
Yeah, yeah. This wouldn't impact us as directly.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
but yeah, I could see like my department.
Mhm.
But I could definitely see why IT would definitely benefit from that, especially in the midst of everything they've got going on.
Yeah, exactly. And so the
Okay.
last page is our pricing page. So as you see here, the price for the first year for the CIO only to have access to this is $50,000, and it goes up incrementally by year. But also each additional license is $15,000 for the first year and goes up with how many years you are putting in.
Okay.
So I've talked to Lee, and he has kind of estimated that you would need 10 additional licenses. And I did the math for you. So you would be looking at $200,000 for the first year, $206,000, $206,000 and 500, and then $213,100 for the third year.
Okay. So why does it go up?
So actually, I'm not the one that that makes it go up every year. I would assume this would be for inflation, to keep us competitive with the market, because this is a 3-year contract, but also
Mhm.
you are getting more value as you use it, as you become Gardener experts, as we like to say. You are getting more and more value out of the product. So to kind of, again, keep it competitive, that's why we do that. Does that answer your question?
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I guess that makes sense. Inflation is something that none of us like to admit, but it's a thing.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So do you need to see this anymore, or can I
Nah,
get rid of the
I
screen share?
I think we're good.
Let's see. Here we go. So with that, would you see Gardner as something that you could potentially invest in and see as an investment, or do you have any questions for me?
Well, I guess the answer to your first question is I definitely think it makes sense. We're definitely looking for some solutions, and it sounds like you guys are definitely a good and knowledgeable company.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think it sounds good to me.
All right. And so, do you have any questions for me or concerns about this? I know when we kind of talk about big numbers like this, some people can get a
Right.
little shaky, and so I kind of want
Mhm.
to see where you're tracking with this as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Obviously, I guess the price increase after the first year is not necessarily something I was expecting.
Yeah.
Um, but I understand that that's just kind of the world we live in. So
Yeah.
yeah, that is certainly a factor. Um, yeah, at this point, I don't have any questions at this stage.
Okay. Yeah.
Um, so I think um, yeah, I think you gave me a pretty good idea of what you offer.
All right. So, would you be willing to make the recommendation to meet with the CIO and talk further more about this? Maybe you could be in the meeting as well, along with some other C-level executives who would be
Mhm.
making this decision.
Yeah, I will after you and I have this chat, I'll be hopefully setting up a meeting with Lynn.
All
And
right.
yeah, I think if we can, I think we'll talk and see what's possible. Um, I I do not because this will help us, but at this time we're not able to allocate the full amount that you relayed. But I think we might be able to take a portion of that out of
Mhm.
our budget. So we could handle a part of that,
Yeah.
but not the whole thing. So I'll have to talk to her about figuring out where the rest of that will come together from.
Yeah, definitely. So just to let you know that Gardner does have a policy that we do not negotiate because we set such a fair market price for this. But I can tell you that we have different financing options, as
Mm,
well as saving you so much money in the process that
mhm.
it would end up being worth the investment. As,
Sure.
so we can work through that in our next meeting if you would like. So when would this meeting take place? Do you know any time in the near future?
Um, well, I'll set it up with her. We'll see if schedules align.
All right.
And I think actually, once we're figuring that out, I think the next step should be, or I believe the next step could be for you to actually meet with her
Okay.
um, yourself, and I can help set that up.
Yeah.
Um, and because I can relay that you've been talking to IT, we've talked, and I think it's time to take this conversation up a level
Yeah.
and figuring it out from there.
All right. Well, I definitely appreciate it. And if you can just kind of keep me posted about when that's going to be, I definitely appreciate it.
Okay. I
All
can
right.
certainly keep you in the loop.
All right. Thanks, Ben.
All right. Good talking to you.
Good talking to you too. Take care.